Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Back in the coffee shop this morning. Might be a little noisy in here. Today we're going to talk about the internet versus reality. So, yesterday, our VIP day with Texas Toast Guitars at the Great American Guitar Build-Off and Expo. And then the festivities afterwards that were not VIP, that were open to anyone who was coming. Just really remind me, and I talked to Matt about this last night too, that the comment section is a tiny slice of the guitar community, and it does not represent reality. There's probably 100 people yesterday, in and out, and all around this whole thing. These people traveled from, let's see. Well, Zoltan had to go from Belgium to Germany to here. So he said he put on 10,000 miles to get here.
Yep.
There was somebody from Sweden. There was somebody from England. There was a bunch of people from Canada, Rhode Island, Boston, Seattle area, California, all places all over the place. They took time off work. They got hotels. They rented cars. They got flights. We talked guitars for hours. We talked whatever they were interested in. I got to learn about people's professions, what they do for a living. Not one time did we argue about tone wood. Not one time did we argue about capacitors.
They told me about their families.
Yeah, everybody told us about their families and what they did for, I bent a guy's ear for a while about vibration dampening in rotating masses of machinery, like just super interesting stuff. And I had a beer last night with a guy that was, he was an electrical engineer, like an industrial electrical engineer, that ran these big dams in Washington State. Like, it was just super cool. And everybody was there to learn stuff, to learn from each other. Thank you. And then to learn from each other, to build, building on each other's experiences. And just, it was great. Just learning about the hobby, and learning about the people. The people are this. The people are the important thing. The internet has this ability to create this distorted picture that, first of all, that everyone is broke. They're not. Everybody wants to say that musicians are broke. They're not. At least, okay, let's say this. I should do a whole video about this. There's the open micer. There's the guy that plays at home, never leaves. There's the open micer. There's the coffee shop guy. There's this level in the middle where everybody thinks they're a professional, but they just play a couple of gigs a month. Let's just be real. They're not actually professionals. They have a real job. But the majority of people who buy our products, who enjoy what we do, are just normal people. They're not musicians. In fact, a lot of these guys aren't that even great at guitar. They just like the stuff. Some of them don't even play guitar, but they're here. They like cool things because cool things are cool because they're cool. No other reason. You don't have to have a reason to buy something cool. You just don't have to have a reason. It doesn't have to be better than this. It doesn't have to be compared with that. It doesn't have to be, right? It just, overall, we're having all these conversations and everybody's just like, this is just fun. I just do it because it's fun. All these people own Squiers and Gibsons and Fenders and custom shop guitars and small made builds and boutique guitars and guitars they made by themselves at home and expensive amps and cheap amps and just all of it. And nobody cares. Nobody cares. Everybody's just like, this stuff is fun. And there was multiple conversations yesterday after learning how to wind a pickup, for example, or watching a guitar body get cut out on the pin router. Because Matt made 26 guitar bodies yesterday. It was the guitar body marathon. He made 26 Telecaster bodies in one day. It was, and everybody's like, I just appreciate what goes into this more. There was no cost conversations. There was no, what is this worth conversations. There was no, everybody paid to be there. Everybody saw value in what we were doing, and they just enjoyed it. There were doctors, there were engineers, there were teachers, there were business owners, there were a lot of retirees, there were factory workers, there were people with disposable income who chose to spend it on guitars. The online guitar community wants to somehow think that anybody who buys anything nice is just getting ripped off. It's just stupid. It's just a dumb way to spend your energy. Don't do it. These people just worked hard and they wanted to do something fun. So they spent money on stuff that they thought was fun. And that's what we do. That's why those conversations are so dumb. That's why, it was just really cool to see people walking around going, I get this. I get why this stuff costs what it costs. I get why this stuff, winding a pickup is hard, right? Like, it's, cheap guitars are not the center of the guitar universe. They're not. People want to say they are, but they're not. Those inexpensive instruments fill an important role for those that cannot afford more. I get it, and that's perfect. That's why we have different price points at different levels and all that. But when you compare YouTube comments to reality and walking around and talking to all these people, it's just two different places. And we're going to see that more tonight at our festivities tonight, and we're going to see that more tomorrow at the guitar show. Because people are going to say, well, that was a VIP thing. They automatically spent more to be there and blah, 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 and they're automatically fans. But, last night, we went and hung out at this hat bar where they make custom cowboy hats. And there was a bunch of people that were not VIP folks. We took that place over. And everybody was just as cool. It didn't matter if they paid $5 for whatever the $25 or whatever for the weekend pass, whatever, or $500 for it didn't matter. What you paid didn't matter. You were just a bunch of cool guitar people hanging out. Mostly, actually, last night, not talking about guitars. It was mostly other parts of life, making friends, making relationships. Me and Matt sat over in the corner, and we were just like, dude, I don't want to, and I don't mean it like, look what we did here, because it was all about those people. But look at this room. Look how amazing what this environment and this culture has created. And 100 people in this room, and they're all just making lifelong friendships. It was just so cool, man. And I'm just so grateful. We sold a guitar yesterday. I think we put some people down on a list to sell a couple of sets of pickups. I've driven halfway across the country, and I think maybe I've made $400. You know what I mean? It is. I made so many friends. That's it. It doesn't even matter. These lifelong relationships around this culture and this hobby and this thing, it's the goal. It's the goal. You're not a username in the comments anymore. You're actually Bob. You're actually Steve. You're actually, you know what I mean? And we're exchanging phone numbers and we're being friends. And hey, I know you're going on a trip at the end of the month with your van. I have an RV hookup. You should stop by. I mean, just crazy, so fun stuff, man. So just remember that if you're getting bogged down in internet trollism and all that kind of stuff, and if you're a person who focuses on, the just as good as thing and all that. Stop thinking about the gear for a second and have a conversation with a human being about guitar stuff as a human being, not as a adversary in the comments, right? And just let the people run the thing. And I think that you'll find that this is much, much more fun. Thank you to everybody who contributes to this every day on this channel and on the other. That's the other thing I found out yesterday. Everybody was like, we're loving the second channel. We're loving the thoughtful conversations. We're loving this. So thank you for everybody who supports what we do. And we will see you tomorrow again. And then we're going to do some live streams and stuff from the actual guitar show.